What we are going to do today is going to require these two worksheets, metric rectangles, and then you're also going to need scissors and a ruler, not in that order. And what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting up some rectangles to begin with, and these are the rectangles you'll be cutting. And then you're going to be filling out the worksheet, and then I'm going to give you an independent activity to do on your own with just notebook paper that you might have at home. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out these rectangles, and I want you to cut them out as neatly as possible because we're going to need straight lines as we move forward into this activity. Then what you're going to do is once you get those rectangles, you're going to place or think about which one has the smallest area and which one has the largest area. And if you think the letter F has the largest area, you'd put an F right there. And I want you to just organize them. We're not going to measure them just yet, so I just want you to place those. So your job right now is to go ahead and cut up your rectangles and then write the letter of each rectangle in the order from smallest to greatest. So go ahead and pause the camera or the video so that you can do this, and then I'm going to give you the answers, okay? Okay, now that you're back, what I want you to do is check your answers with mine. So I thought that the letter D rectangle was the smallest, and I thought A was the largest. And I could tell that with my eyes. We're going to calculate down here and just prove that our answers are correct in just a minute. Okay, and then we have B, F, C, and E. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do number 3, but we're going to do this a little bit differently than what the worksheet says to do. We're going to cross out the estimate part. So just put a big gigantic X there. And we're not going to worry about estimating the area of our rectangle because we're really just thinking about area and perimeter today. And we're going to do a little project with that. So what you're going to do is with your rectangles that are cut out, you are going to measure them. And I'm going to find mine and I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to just do letter E first because that's the first one that came up for me. So I'm going to write down A, B, C, D, E, and F. And I'm going to measure E first. So with your ruler, we're going to measure in centimeters, and depending on how you cut, you might need to round up to the nearest whole number, but hopefully it's pretty similar to what my answers are going to be if we cut similarly. So here's my first side of E, and I see that it's 6. Okay, so I'm going to write down 6 right here. And one of the properties of a rectangle is that if this side is 6 centimeters, then we know the opposite side is 6, so we don't have to measure the bottom there. Now we're going to measure over here, and it looks like to me, what are you measuring? What number are you getting? I'm getting 12, so I'm going to put a 12 here, and then again, the opposite side is the same. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the area, which is length times width. So I'm going to do 12 times 6, and 2 times 6 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So my answer for my area is going to go in 2 places. It's going to go here, 72 centimeters squared. It's also, and I did letter E, so let's not get that mixed up, I'm going to write 72 centimeters squared. Okay, let's go ahead and measure another one. And I am looking for one really quickly here. Let's measure D. D is a nice, cute little rectangle. There we go. Okay, so this one looks like it's about 6, and this one is, this side is 3. So can you calculate the area just inside your head? 3, 6, and then this is 3, and this is 6. So our area for D is 18 centimeters, right? And I'm going to write it here. I'm also going to write it here because I'm going to need this information for my next project. Okay, what I want you to do right now is turn off the camera or the video. I always say camera. Turn off the video, and I want you to measure the sides of your rectangles on your own, and then I will show you what I got for each answer. So I'm going to give you a little time to do that. Okay, go ahead and measure. Okay, so if you are back with me, what I got for each answer, I want you to write down as well. So for A, it was 6 times 20, so my answer is 120 centimeters squared. So we're going to write 120 centimeters on this page as well. The next one that you did was, or the next answer I'll give is B. And for B, I got 40 centimeters because it was 10 by 4. Now, if you got something different than me, what I would like you to do is just go ahead with my answers because I want you to, we are doing things similarly together in our next part of this. Okay, so C was 60 centimeters. And we have F left behind here. There's my F. And it looks like it's 52 centimeters. So before we proceed, make sure you have the area on each one of your rectangles. Okay, what we're going to do now is I would like you to get letters C and F. And we are going to make a figure with C and F. We're going to combine these two rectangles to make a different figure. So when they're separate by themselves, they're one figure, but when we put them together, they're a different figure. And we call these in math, we call it irregular figures, and that just means it's not your typical rectangle or square. And I always like to relate this to real life math. So what I'm thinking of when I see this, like, if you were to compare this to something you see in real life, when do you see rectangles that are in this configuration? I see it as a sidewalk that's leading to a road. I could also see it as a hallway that's leading to a family room. So think about it that way, that we're calculating perimeter and area of real life things. And this is just a model, just like we use in science, we use models all the time. Okay, so what we're going to do here is make sure your figure is combined the way mine is, and we're going to go ahead and calculate the area. And we're going to calculate the area by counting all the sides. So I'm going to write 6 here, and then here, I don't know what this distance is, so I'm going to put a question mark there because I'm not sure what it is just yet. I know that this is 13. And this is 4, and then this is 13 plus 6, which is what? What's 13 plus 6? It's 19, right? And then this one is 10. Now we still have this mystery number to figure out. So I know that from here to here, it's 10, right? So on this side, if this side is 4, if it's matching up with this opposite side, what is my missing number? So I'm thinking to myself, what does 10 take away 4? And that's going to give me my mystery number. And so what is my mystery number? You are correct, it is 6. Well done. Now what we need to do is we need to add this all up together. And I'm going to look for some fast 10s so that we can go quickly here. Let's see, what do I see? I see a 10 and I see a 13. And I can add 10 and 13 in my mind together and just call it 23, because that just makes sense to me. 10 plus 13 is 23. So I'm going to check off that I used these two. And then I see a 6 and a 4, which is a 10. So I'll check those off. And then I see a 19 and a 6. And then I'm going to just go ahead and add all of these together. And so I'd like you to do the same. So if you've not written this down yet, go ahead and write it all down and calculate it. And then I will do the same. So 9 plus 6 is 15, 16, 17, 18. And then 2, 3, 4, 5. So here on this shape, or this figure, my perimeter is 58. Okay. Now I want you to calculate the area. How do we calculate the area with this shape? Well, we know the area of this rectangle and we know the area of this rectangle, so all we need to do is combine those two numbers. Because the area really hasn't changed, has it? It looks like it's 112 centimeters squared. The area is the same in that this is still 60 and this is 52, but it's now just combined together. So that's our answer for this one. And what I want you to do now is I want you to get another piece of paper, just a scratch piece of paper where you can do some work underneath it. I probably should have said that for the first one. And I'm going to save this whiteboard and use the same shapes. I'm going to use C and F, and I'm going to create a new shape. So instead of doing this, this is what I did last time. I think I'm just going to shift it down here. And what I want you to think about before we start calculating is, do you think the perimeter will be the same as this one? Will the perimeter of this shape be the same as the perimeter of this shape? How many of you think yes, it'll be the same because it's the same shapes and they'll have the same perimeter? How many of you think it's going to be a different perimeter? It looks like it's going to be a little different to me. But let's go ahead and figure it out. So again, let's count the sides. We're going to do 6 plus 10. And here's our mystery number again, so we're going to figure that out in a minute. This is 4. This is 13. And then this whole side is 10 plus 4. So we can call that 14. Okay. If you've not written all of this down yet, and I'm going a little fast, go ahead and pause everything and just get caught up with me, because you can watch me do this or you can do it with me. And if you do it with me, your learning will expand better than just watching someone do it, right? I think that's true of anything we learn. Okay, so I have a mystery number here. I know that this side here is 13. I know that this side is 6. So here, so it's 6 plus something. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, 6 plus something equals 13. And my answer is, you are correct, it's 7. So my mystery number here is 7. Yeah. Okay. Now I can go ahead and add all these numbers up again. But again, I'm going to look for fast 10s and for fast 20s. So I see a 10 right there, so I'm going to just call that 10. And then I see a fast 10 and a fast 20 involving this 6. So I'm going to go for the bigger one. 6 plus 14 is 20, right? So I'm checking these off as I go. And then I have 7 plus 4, or 7 plus 13, or 4 plus 13. I see another fast 20, 13 plus 7, because 3 plus 7 is 10, so 13 plus 7 is 20. And then I just have this 4 left over to calculate, right? So now I'm going to add all of this up. Look how easy my addition problem is now. Isn't that awesome? I don't have to worry about all of these numbers. I can just kind of combine them. So 4, and then 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. So my perimeter here is 54 centimeters. And my area is, what's my area? Has the area changed? The perimeter has changed, but the area is still 52 plus 60, which is 112 centimeters. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our differences here. This one had 58 centimeters for the perimeter, so when it was shaped like this, it had a bigger perimeter. Why would that be important? Well, if you're designing a house or a lawn or a park, you would want to know how big your spaces are going to be and what the perimeter might be. Okay, I'm going to get you set up on what you're going to do independently on your own today. And what you're going to do is you're going to do 3 of the problems that I just did with you. And the way you're going to do these 3 problems is you are going to pick 2 rectangles to put together in any formation that you want. But you need to find 2 different perimeters. So you might do a shape that looks like this. I just randomly grabbed A and D. So here we have the letter L again. Or you could also do a shape that looks like this with A and D. That's a totally different shape, and it's going to give you a different perimeter, right? So keep that in mind as you go forward. If you want to challenge yourself, which I know there's a lot of math kids out there in 4th grade who love a good challenge, what you can do is you can take 3 of these possibly. I'll get one that has numbers on it. So you could take 3 of these and you could make different configurations and calculate the perimeter, and this would just give you more of a challenge. Do you see that if you did 3? So just to be clear, what you're going to do is you're going to do 3 different irregular shapes. You're going to find the area and the perimeter for each one. So you'll have 2 different answers for each set of rectangles that you put together. So it might be this, and then you might say, okay, I'm going to do them like that, or I'm going to do it like that, put it right in the middle. Whatever will challenge you would be great to do, because you can create a lot of missing numbers, and that's a really good practice for you to think about that. That's algebraic thinking, and that's always a good thing to do in math. So if you don't understand these directions, I want you to just listen to it one more time by rewinding and listening to it. But basically you're doing exactly what we did together, where you take 2 shapes and you configure them in 2 different ways and then calculate the area and the perimeter. All right, have fun, and I'll see you next time.